As Senator McCain indicated, the greatest champion of all time, Muhammad Ali, who is accompanied by Lonnie Ali. We'd like to invite you to come forward and be seated. And then also Mr. Roy Jones Jr., who's, and I agree with Senator McCain, one of the greatest boxers of our time. We very much appreciate your being here. As you're getting seated, let me just say to you, all of us have our own interests in boxing. Mine began with a grandfather who really enjoyed boxing, and he gave me a subscription to Ring magazine. So when I was a young boy, I would read of Nat Fleischer, and then I listened to the Sugar Ray Robinson fights on radio, and the Pabst Blue Ribbon Gillette fights, and I remember listening to the round-by-round AP descriptions over a radio of the Lewistown, Maine fight in which Muhammad Ali fought Sonny Liston. And boxing has a rich history in our country, but as Senator McCain says, there is much that needs to be done to clean up boxing so that fighters, these great young athletes, are not used and misused. So let me thank you both for being here. I believe, Mrs. Ali, you intend to speak for the champ, but let us thank both of you for being here.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Senator McCain and members of the committee for your invitation to have us here this afternoon and testify. And I will say this in the words of Muhammad, if that's okay. The Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act represents an important first step in the effort to improve professional boxing, and in particular to protect the rights of the professional boxers. I commend Senator McCain and this committee for this historic measure and their continued efforts to enhance the image of professional boxing in America. In preparation for my appearance here today, I asked my representatives to make contact with the athletic commissions in California, Nevada, and elsewhere, and to speak with some of my friends in the boxing industry. My statement here today is based on the results of their findings and my own experience and observations. The Act represents a long overdue effort to improve boxer safety, reduce conflict of interest, discourage coercive contracts, and create a uniform set of standards and procedures. There is, however, still much room for improvement. Too many young fighters without representation are still signing agreements that are unfair and lacking in adequate safeguards. Although the Act affords a private civil remedy, many boxers lack the resources and sophistication to understand or take advantage of these procedures. Promotional agreements remain largely unregulated. Uniformity of standards have not been attained, and some commissions refuse to assume jurisdictions over violations of the Act. I believe our attorney, Ron DiNicola, has had some experience with that in representing some boxers. As such, I make the following recommendations. First, the Association of Boxing Commissioners should extend the use of uniform standards for bout and management agreements to promotional agreements, and Congress should insist on the use of these forms nationwide. Second, uniform standards applicable to licensing in general and medical requirements in particular are needed to eliminate fraud, inefficiency, and confusion in a sport where most fighters can expect to fight in multiple states and jurisdictions in any given year. Subsidies may be necessary to ensure that fighters who fight at the club level have access to affordable medical screening. Third, uniformity in scoring, combined with a national rating system in order to judge the judges, should be considered as a means of reducing controversial and questionable decisions. Fourth, federal legislation should mandate compliance with these uniform standards, provide for impartial binding arbitration in a form convenient to the boxer, and at a minimum expressly authorize commissions to assume concurrent jurisdiction to address violations of the federal law. Fifth, the time has come for the creation of a national oversight body. This is necessary to assure compliance with the spirit and the letter of the Act and other legislation designed to improve the sport and protect its participants. Federally mandated supervision is the only way to enhance the integrity of the sport and restore public confidence. In conclusion, those of us who love boxing believe that it can and it should be saved. The power to save it rests with you, Mr. Chairman, and with your esteemed colleagues. Boxing gave me a place and a purpose in the world. It gave me fame and fortune and provided me a livelihood to support my family. Beyond that, it gave me relationships and memories that I will cherish all the days of my life. Boxing gives to young men and women a chance to dream big and reach for the stars. Or as Robert Lipsyte wrote many years ago, to climb as high as your heart and legs can carry you. All boxing asks of its participants is hard work, determination, courage, and discipline. Those are great values for our time, indeed, and for any time. It is left to us to preserve the sport that allows those values to shine brightly. Thank you.
Mrs. Ali, thank you very much. Champ, thank you very much for your presentation. Let me next call on